Welcome to Trending with Miss Trey, Lynn Q. Ayoung, award-winning director, producer. I mean, writer. So many hats. Welcome to Trending with Miss Trey.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I feel honored. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so I just want to jump right into it. You're a woman of many hats.
Yes.
I know you started in the music industry as a hip hop performer. Tell us a little bit about that before you got started into the film industry.
Wow. I was one of those people that was very blessed to have been a part of this wonderful genre called hip hop when lyricism was like in the forefront. It was really about street poetry. And it took me quite some time. During that time, women are considered the secret weapons. We were like, we were honored. We were considered sexy when we wore baggy clothes. It didn't matter, and we were respected to a major degree. We were respected. I got to a certain point in my career where I felt that I hit like a crossroad. It was really women were, I think, they didn't really know what hip hop was. And then when hip hop started selling millions, they feel like they had a formula, and it was about kind of marketing women, especially as sex symbols. And I just couldn't fit in that box. I just couldn't fit in that box. But it still took me some time to realize that hip hop had saved my life, and I felt like I needed to save its life, and somewhere down the line, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a hip hop director. I'm going to be a hip hop filmmaker, because it's still the same. I still have the same voice. I just changed my medium.
I love that.
Thank
you. And that's absolutely true, because when you write music or when you perform, you have to have an audience.
Absolutely.
You have a story to tell. So pivoting to the film industry was a great idea.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously it's been successful for you.
Yeah, I mean, I went to school. It was something that, everything with the music, I kind of taught myself. I had production companies with MC Light, 2 production companies actually with MC Light. Wow. So I learned the business the hard way with the music. I knew if I was to go into film, I wanted to know what I was doing. I learned the business. I knew I was going to open up a production company after school, which I did, Illusionary Ends, which Cracked is the first film to launch off of Illusionary Ends.
Wow.
And I learned that through the music industry, the importance of having, that kind of creative control over your intellectual property. But I also wanted to learn a craft and feel very confident in it. Every penny that I'd made thus prior to that was me teaching myself. So I ended up going back to college, ended up going to grad school after that. And this Cracked is my thesis film.
So let's talk about ABFF. What does it mean to be a part of the 25th anniversary of ABFF?
Wow. I have to say that I'm completely honored, first of all, to be amongst ABFF's HBO short film competition finalists. That's like a major, major deal. People that have been there already is like Kugler. Like, I mean, it's real. You know what I mean? This is something that's incredibly I feel completely honored. There's 5 finalists, 4 of which are Black women. I mean, okay, it's like
Girl magic.
Black girl magic for real. Like, it just feels amazing. First of all, to create content that your community embraces. There is nothing like that. And as an artist, it feels like I'm on purpose. It feels like this is why I did something right. Like, you know what I mean? And ABFF does an incredible job at championing the new emerging Black filmmakers, Black artists to come out there and show their stuff. And I just feel completely honored.
That's amazing. I actually watched your film first, which was ironic. And I really gravitated to it because it was a story about a young girl in an inner city community and the trauma that some face. Mm-hmm. And it was a big story in so short of a time.
Right.
So it gave you a lot, and it was like, well, what's next?
That's
so
good.
It's like you want to see more, you want to be engaged to the story, and you want to see where this goes. So what was the thesis behind you even creating the story?
Well, one, I am a sexual abuse survivor. It was important for me to remember, young Black children during that time. Boy, it was an incredible loss of innocence in general, just because of the crack epidemic and how it ravaged our neighborhoods, and how I don't, as an adult looking back on that time, it's like I realized, like, how do you process that as a young kid?
Exactly.
How do you process that? How do you process, like, seeing people that you grew up with, people that it's either your friends' parents or your friends' family member, or even, people that within your community, and all of a sudden they're like a different person and they're acting absolutely like crazy, like what you
Monster.
can identify as crazy, you know? It was, I just can't imagine what that does to children. I mean, I of course went through it, but as a child, I just remember kind of, you really didn't know how to process it.
Right.
You just really didn't know how to process it. Toya's character is based on my childhood, and I'm a sexual abuse survivor. And what I find most important is, when you're young and something like that happens to you, I learned as an adult how there's long lasting effects. I thought that, once I've accepted it, I'll be okay, I'm fine. But I didn't realize that it really took a toll on me as an adult. I didn't trust anybody, couldn't trust anybody. You know what I mean? I'd rather be by myself. Like, being by myself felt safe. And with that, that comes, that takes a toll on you as well, because I'm sure there were a lot of people that I did good. You didn't trust, they're not trustworthy. That's great. But then there are people that were like great people that I didn't get to kind of form really healthy relationships with, because I just didn't trust people. It just really affected, it even affected my career,
Wow.
not wanting, as a musician, not wanting to kind of, it's just so much I was able to take of attention. Like, like it's like attention felt good and awkward and weird at the same time, and that affected my career. It affected how I moved in a, in a venue where I was performing. It affected how I interacted with other people, whether I'm doing business with them, other artists. It really affected everything. And I had no idea. I thought I was over it. Oh, that happened when I was little, and that's why, when Poochie asked Toya, and she's like, oh, that happened a long time ago, I'm over it. It's like
Yeah.
something that you tell yourself, and it's not the truth. It's just a process. It's how you're able to kind of cope within that moment. Is
Wow.
telling yourself you're over it.
Wow. And I really, that's what I got from it as well, that it was a trauma response. It wasn't, let's say that you're over it. It was a trauma response because it's done, it's over, but mentally you're still dealing with it. You're still dealing with it in some capacity. So like you
Absolutely.
say, wanting to be alone, that's a trauma response, because if I'm alone, no one can hurt me.
That's
If
it.
I'm not close to anyone, no one can hurt me.
Absolutely.
But, in that era, there was no one to tell you to say, no, you can, it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to deal with it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay. In that era, there was no such thing as that. It was like, it was a hush hush situation, or it wasn't being told.
Right. Right.
So to be able to, when she did tell her story and share what happened to her, it was almost to a weightlifted to others, but it was like, I'm still dealing with it to me.
Mhm.
Because yes, I've told you,
Yeah.
but I'm still dealing with this on the back end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that it is long lasting. And I just hope that, I have to tell you that what's been so rewarding for me is when people come up and say, this is my story. You just told my story, and that to me is like everything, because for a long time, I wasn't able to kind of see the child in me that went through the trauma, but I can see the child within me that went through the trauma through someone else's story, if that makes any sense.
It does. It
It's like
does.
I couldn't, because I think coping with it was to kind of create a distance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm used to doing. Like I've created some level of a distance. So when someone else says their story, I can like tear up. And, and,
Right.
and which it's so hard for me to do that for my own inner child, you know? It's and so to hear other people be able to kind of feel that to me, like I just did something correct. I did something right. Like, okay, Lynn, keep going,
Well, you absolutely did something correct with crack. I believe that it's going to touch a lot of lives. It's definitely needed and necessary
Mm-hmm.
because, like you say, a lot of people don't tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do tell their story, either it's not recognized, or that was a long time ago kind of
Right.
response. And you don't ever want to tell your story, and that is how someone responds to it. So
Mm-hmm.
with you telling the story and them being receptive to it, even from Pooch to her dad,
Mm-hmm.
it was a shocking situation to him, but you can tell that he was still there for her.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I commend you for writing this film. I commend you for telling the story.
Thank you.
Like I stated, it's going to touch different people, whether it be the young girl that's dealing with it now, or the older woman that's still trying to process through the trauma.
Yes. I mean,
Because
I'm sorry, not to
no,
cut
no,
you
go
off,
ahead.
but I'd also hope that it touches people like parents, because sometimes, you don't know. I think it's a different climate. It's a different emotional climate today. People are more in tune with, children having voices and like, before we didn't have that. It was like, okay,
Sit
you
down and be
already know.
quiet. Sit down and be quiet.
Exactly.
Stay in
Exactly.
a child's place.
Yes, yes, yes. So I hope to also, touch parents or even teachers or
Yes.
adults who may see something and not really know what it is, but there's something there, and maybe that will spark something in them to kind of investigate or whatever have you, talk to the child or something, you know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when things like this happen, they need someone to talk to. And if
Absolutely.
it's not their direct family members or their friends, that teacher could also make a way and make them feel comfortable as well, as long as it's not overstepping.
Absolutely.
But they can make them feel comfortable as well and have a voice. Because,
Mhm.
like you said, when we grew up, boys, what was that?
Right. Okay. You couldn't say nothing. Like that was it.
Don't even look like you finna say something.
Exactly. 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 So thank you. Like I have to tell you that I'm touched by everything that you're saying, because I feel like there's a definite connection. Like I see you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that just like, I mean, that and the Bob behind you, it's working for me.
So, with that being said, Crack was a part of the Spike Lee Production Fund grant. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, I was blessed
Wow.
to be the school that I went to grad school is NYU Grad Film, and Spike Lee is an alum of NYU Grad
Wow.
Film. He is a creative advisor there, and he's also a professor there. So I've been blessed to kind of have him as a mentor. If we think about Spike, I mean, just his work, his longevity, his relevance in this industry is beyond remarkable, because he stuck to his guns. He never, he didn't skip a beat. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to see and learn and from someone else's experience in that way. And he just gives of himself like that to let people to for you to actually learn and understand, because it's not just about picking up a camera, and it's not just about picking up a pen, and it's not just about directing an actor. It's about understanding the business, understanding how we as Black artists, we as Black filmmakers, what we need to do to get ourselves out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's beyond just a craft. So it's a beautiful thing, and I just want to thank Professor Spike Lee for seeing something in the film Cracked and being able to financially support it in that way, because he helped me really bring my film into fruition the way I wanted to.
And it's definitely doing what it's supposed to do.
Thank you.
Definitely. I definitely support it. I definitely, whatever I can do to help you with the project, whether it be pushing it on my platform,
Wow.
giving it to, my other media sisters as well, I will definitely do that. Because like I say, the story is big because people need to have those conversations at the end of the day. We
Yes.
need to have those conversations. We need to allow kids to have a voice. We need to allow to make sure that they feel comfortable, whether it be with uncle, aunt, sister, brother, whoever it may be, they feel comfortable. And if they're not comfortable, they're able to come and tell you that.
Yes.
So the film itself and the era, like you say, we were in, I don't want to say norm, but things happened. There were monsters out there that were doing things to people.
Absolutely.
And to see that on film, it was like, it's incredible because you really were true and authentic with the story. Like,
Thank
it
you.
was very right on point. And
Thank
I
you so
definitely
much.
commend you for that.
That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
No problem. So tell us where, as we wrap up ABFF, and people are viewing it on ABFF, ABFF Play, as well as the website. Where can we see the film after this wraps on Sunday?
Wow. There's a lot of great things that are in the mix. Some things that I can't really divulge, but the aim is to have it for everyone to be able to kind of tune in and see it, and people of all ages, young people that may be going through the same thing right now. That's my aim. So there are things in the mix, so I can't say anything too deep, but
Trini with Miss Trey gonna get an exclusive.
You will be seeing it soon. You will
Okay.
be seeing it soon.
Well, that's what I like to hear. It won't be sitting. It won't be sitting in someone's email. You'll be seeing it soon on big screen.
Absolutely.
We're speaking that.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
So with all of this you have going on, from just being a wonderful woman, a woman of many hats, to having a phenomenal film, Crack, being a part of ABFF, what is next for you? What do we have to come with your brand, with your film company? What do we have next coming?
Well, right now I'm in the midst of writing a feature. Very excited about that. I also have a short that's in development. And I also have a short that I just finished directing called But Tomorrow, which premiered at Urban World.
Wow.
So I believe in kind of staying busy and really sharpening my craft. I feel like practice makes perfect. So I just believe in, like, really, as I write my feature, I'm going to continuously make shorts because it's going to help me continue to sharpen my tools. So by the time I get to the feature, I'm good. I feel I'm going to feel very comfortable working on a longer form and working with other artists and the cast and crew. It's an incredible thing. I have to say, I love being on set. So I look forward to the next time. Hopefully it'll be really soon for another short.
That's exciting. So with all this being done, do you see you making another album track, song? Do you see that ever coming back?
You want to know something funny? Okay, this is the exclusive for you. This is the exclusive. This is what's funny. So in the middle of COVID, I was in the middle of post-production for Cracked. We literally had to stop editing because we got thrown out of the NYU was closing down. It was like a film. NYU was closing down. We had to get out of the editing suites, and I couldn't edit at my home at that point. So one of the things that happened is I needed music for Cracked. I would have told you prior to that day, I would have told you I'm not rhyming. I will never rhyme again. I don't want to rhyme. I actually rhymed on the beginning song and the end song.
I thought that was you, but I was like, I don't know, what did she tell me? Because I was like, this end song, this sound like her.
It's so crazy. I swear, if you would have told me, like, God works in mysterious ways, because I would have told you no. Everybody, some people be still getting at me like, yo, let me get a sweet 16. I'm like, no. I'm now, my tool is now a camera. My tool has always been a pen, but it's now toward film. And I think that's fitting though, because Cracked is autobiographical. And it was I have to tell you, it came like first, it just came out like flowing, just the lyrics, because it's something that I've felt all my life, you know?
Because you do
So
this.
I don't know. I have to tell you that I miss hip hop. I do. Hip hop is my first love. Music is my first love. It transcends everything. It transcends everything. So I know now that it's better that I not say never, because you never know.
Right.
But it would have to be something that's really meaningful. Something that's, you know, I wouldn't be just going out there rhyming just to rhyme. You know, I come from the era where we had our self-destruction, you know, with MC Light, and everybody was doing, you know, like in times like this, in times like everything that we went through, like that year of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, hip hop would have been out there rhyming. You understand? So it was just like, you know, I was out there with a camera, you know, working on a documentary about transgenerational trauma of racism and what we as Black people, you know, what we can learn from each other, because we have an idea. Some people say, oh, give it to the youth. The youth is going to save us. And it's like, no, the youth is not going to save us. We're going to save us. It's up to every generation, because the people from the Watts riots, that they can teach us something. And my generation from the Rodney King riots, we can learn something from our generation, and we can also learn something from the younger generation. So I feel like if we like come together, we can get a better idea of the landscape, because history keeps repeating itself.
Absolutely.
It just keeps repeating itself. And the beauty of what occurred, when I say the beauty, I don't mean it in any way, shape, or form like this was a beautiful thing that happened, but how we united is what was so beautiful. And I think that technology had a lot to do with it. You know, we didn't have the luxury of like sending a text to somebody that goes out to millions of people in 1 minute, you know, like 1 second. But we sure
barely had a two-way pager.
Okay, right. Oh, you remember that? You remember that word? So, you know, like, but we still united though. We still united for Rodney King. You know, it didn't matter. We didn't need the internet. We didn't need any of that. We still united in all over United States. In all Black communities, people were doing what they had to do. People were marching. People were expressing their anger and their sadness and their pain and their hurt over this. So all I'm saying is, if I was to get back on the mic, it's always going to be something real.
I believe it. I believe it. It wouldn't be just, oh, let me put out an album just to put out an album. It'd have to be something like really like meaningful, you know, something that you're doing it at a performance for a big event or something like that, but not just, oh, I'm going to drop an album, just drop an album. Like you have phenomenal projects right now. Like we don't have time for the hip hop foolery that comes along with that sometimes.
I feel you on that. Yes, you're absolutely right. And you got Bob behind you, so I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. His music is timeless.
Yes. Timeless. Yes. That's one of my favorites.
Me too. Me too.
So with all of this going on, how can people follow you, stay in touch with you? I know Trending with Miss Tre will be on your heels, but how can everyone else follow you?
I answer everything on Instagram. So that is at LinQ Ayoung, which is my full name. That's LinQue Ayoung. I'm also on Facebook. So you can actually nowadays you can actually call somebody on your Facebook. So
don't call on Facebook, y'all. Don't call on Facebook. Please don't.
No, please don't. But you can. But I am about building community. It is about reaching out to people that view my film. That's real to me. Like there's a connection already there. So I like building with people. Please do reach out though. On a serious note, you can reach out. Of course, you know, I'm constantly working on something new, and so my schedule is crazy, but I always hit people back. That's just a must. I have so much respect for you guys. And anybody that takes the time out to reach out, that's love for me. So I get love back.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being a part of Trending with Miss Tre. It was a pleasure speaking with you and getting to know your story, as well as, you know, talking about your film Crack and what's next for you. I wish you nothing but greatness and the film greatness. And we will talk soon.
Definitely. Shout out to Miss Tre. Always. Peace, y'all.